Hey everyone, welcome back to the final episode of the Music by the Month recap series. Once again, in this episode, we're going to be going through the final song that I've released as part of this project, and I'm just going to be going behind the scenes in the production process, and also just explaining a bit of the narrative, and the fact that this is December, it's the final month, and the final song, it'll all be coming to a close, and yeah, I'm really excited to get into this, so yeah, let's check out the project. Alright, so the finale of this here is that the character that has gone all this way is finally met in this room on this alien planet, and they're faced with this machine, and they to explain what it is, it's a time machine based on the title of the song, and they're basically, the narrative is that they're going to try and use this to try and revert some of the things that have happened, and yeah, hopefully try to get themselves back home. So the sort of vibe I wanted was sort of a very determined, sort of strong groove, with some futuristic synth sounds, things like that. And yeah, the main groove based around this bass line that's just on every single 16th note. It's kind of interesting how I've done this. I've done it in 12/8, but in reality it's just sort of 4/4. But it does mean that it has this this really groovy triplet feel throughout the whole thing. And I sort of wanted to add an effects that sort of make it sound like this machine is running. So yeah, that's sort of just the thoughts I had with that. It's a little bit different from the last one where there were instruments that sort of represented the characters. It's not really like that for this one. It's more so just the main melodies just sort of represent the whole progression of everything, sort of as a whole. And yeah, it sort of slowly builds up until the very end where they figure out how to activate this time machine, and they sort of go back, and yeah, you'll sort of understand what happens if it's the song's being heard. So I'll just play a bit just to get an idea of the groove, just a bit of the feeling that's going on. I wanted a very sort of bouncy, very sort of defined melody, and I think I have that here, just at this first main part here. You'll hear lots of different elements, the percussion, the bass, and then the melody. And yeah, I'll just play that just to get the idea of it. Yeah, so just from that you can tell it's a very strong groove, very definite percussion, and then the bass line that's going through, as well as that, playful bouncy melody on top, but still has a very determined direction of where it's going. And it's sort of the whole piece is sort of split into different sections, sort of where it sort of takes the elements and sort of changes them around a little bit. At the start you can hear this clock ticking sound effect, adding to the theme of time being manipulated around. And you can hear it again as well, sort of to transition between the sections. Sort of have elements of the previous compositions as well. So there's the chord synth here, which is taken from I think it was September, maybe August, the August song, The City. It's the same synth with similar groove there, because that's sort of where they are at this point. And there's also some static being built up and chopped around, which is all the way from February. As well as just some other effects here that I just found from the samples over here. I chopped them up a bit to sort of add to sort of the mysterious feeling. If we keep moving forward, I can find the same ideas where we're taking these elements and sort of having slightly different grooves around it. One of my favorite things I did with this piece is the use of this sine wave. It's just one sine wave, but I've sort of bent it around using the slide function on here, and it sort of has this very mysterious sort of alien sound. I've used that in a few places just to add like counter melodies. It's quite a cool effect. Oh, another thing I just wanted to touch on was the this melody here, which it plays and then it has the audio that's reversed, which is once again just sticking to the theme of time going back, and it's quite a cool effect. I think I'll just play that just to get the idea, because it's quite a cool effect. Yeah, so it sort of functions as like a call and response type thing. Yeah, it's quite a cool effect, aim to it. The narrative throughout this whole thing isn't too advanced. It's more of just them sort of playing around with this machine and sort of trying to figure it out. And the main point of the narrative comes at the very end, which I don't really. It's quite obvious what it is, but I want to leave it to the listener to hear. The song comes, and yeah, it's just keeps carrying on with them tinkering around with the machine. There's different elements of the machine that sort of represented the elements of the song, which is why they're sort of mixed around a bit. And yeah, at the end, it sort of changes up a bit, and musically the idea is that there's this one progression that is throughout the whole piece, and that only changes at the very end, sort of once they figure something out, and then they can get a bit more movement, and the melody sort of captures that, showing how they sort of understand. It sort of something clicks with them and they understand what's in front of them, and it sort of sounds a lot more confident as the melody goes forward. Yeah, so I'll play that last little bit. I think it would be good to hear. Yeah, so you see what I mean? Yeah, there we go. Very very obvious change there. That sort of is a nice bit of variety at the end of sort of the same monotonous chords that go through the whole thing. This final section I'll just go over quickly. This is supposed to be sort of the machine starting up, and it's a kind of reminiscent to the fourth song where the rocket's starting up, and I sort of did that on purpose just to sort of show the similarities, and sort of just to connect elements of the whole story together. Where it's slowly building up, there's this once again use the sine melody, or the sine melody to sort of have a counter melody that sort of adds a bit of variety. And I also used an effect, this sort of melody using the whole tone scale, and it sort of has a very sort of mysterious, sort of magical feeling to it. And it's not always, when you hear it, it's sort of a familiar sound, but it has a very specific emotion that's used. That's great to be used in situations like this. And yeah, it sort of builds up towards the end. These melodies come together, and yeah, it sort of everything builds up, and then it cuts out, and then yeah, it sort of ends there. If you want to hear it, gonna have to go listen to it. It'll probably be on Spotify by the time that this video is released as the full album. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be closing off this project, and yeah, thank you all for supporting it throughout the whole way. And yeah, guess that's it.